Good afternoon. My name is Clint, and this is Yin Yoga for Athletes. Welcome. Today, you're going to need a strap. And the strap is not a bungee type strap, but one that is fixed. It can be a cotton strap. It can be almost anything. It can actually be a towel. But what you're going to be doing with that a little bit later is you'll be on your back and a leg will be up. And you want to be able to hold that leg straight like this. So you grab both ends of the towel and then let your leg come out to the side. So that's what you're going to need that for. And you may need, for another pose, you may need a towel to put underneath your sit bones. So let's get right at it. Come to a seated pose with your legs crossed. If your legs bother you and you don't want to cross your legs, that's okay. But try to get your knees wider. If you are cross-legged, inhale your chest high, gaze out at the horizon. Your hands can be resting on your knees or in your lap. That's not all that important. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. Exhale it out through your nose. And feel the stress begin to leave your body. Take another deep cleansing breath in through your nose, out through your nose, and begin your normal breathing. Find the rhythm that suits your body. This is the natural breath that you've been using ever since you were born. There's no need to correct it, improve it. It's doing its job. Allow your eyes to close. And keeping your sit bones on the mat, I'd like you to begin to walk your hands on the mat forward, bringing your collarbones towards that far wall until your sit bones want to start to come up. And maybe your sit bones won't come up. Maybe you can get your chest all the way down onto the floor. That is more than a dream for me. But young women have nice, flexible spines. Try to keep your sit bones down. If you can rest your head on the floor, go for it. If you need a block or a towel, put that underneath. This is a spine stretcher. And once you get to where your body wants to be, your muscles can begin to relax and breathe into wherever you have the most amount of tension. Soften your elbows so that they come down to the mat. Soften your shoulders so that your arms and your shoulder blades move off to the side and get drawn down towards the mat by gravity. You may be able to feel a little bit of a groin opener. And you also may be able to feel a little bit of a glute stretch here. But notice your breath. Notice how your breathing is going. What part of your lungs are you breathing into?
As you breathe out, exhale completely by drawing your navel in towards your spine, and then begin again. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest. The next pose is called saddle. So come over onto your hands and knees. And saddle is done with your knees either close together, and you can sit back on top of your heels, that's acceptable. Or you can get an inward rotation on your femurs by moving your legs, your feet, outside of your hips. I'll turn again a little bit. Now this is where you may need a towel underneath your sit bones, maybe not. I've seen some, only women, with their legs coming out at more than 45 degrees. But that's just because their hips allow their femur to rotate that much. Most of us have the pelvis that impedes the movement of your femur, and that's fine. From here, this is a quad stretch. You've probably identified that already. And it's also a great sacrum soother. So your sacrum is that triangular bone that hangs in between the two wings of your pelvis. So bring your hands behind your hips and just lean back, lift your chest, keeping your hips down, but open your chest to the sky or to your ceiling of bar joists. And if this is giving you a nice stretch on your quads, that's great. If you'd like a little more, and if this is comfortable on your knees, you can come down onto your elbows. Now maybe a knee will pop up. That's okay too. But don't do it if it hurts. Right across your hip crease here on each side are your psoas and your iliacus. Combined, you'll see in the textbook, they're the iliopsoas muscle. And they are like ropes of steel. Those are the hip flexors that lift your legs. You don't have any other muscles that are going to do that. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, you can walk your hands back up, lifting your chest. Come forward onto your hands and knees. Remove any towels. Coming into table and do some cat-cows. This was a pretty good stretch on your sacrum. So make sure that you flex your whole spine. The next time you come to center pause, this next pose is going to be half dragonfly. So come down onto your right hip. bring both legs out in front. Stretch your heels away, get a nice stretch of your hamstrings, and then bend your left knee. So your right foot is straight ahead, flexed. Inhale your spine tall. And exhale, walk your hands towards that foot, drawing your collarbones towards your foot, and the crown of your head towards the wall beyond. Until you get to that first bit of resistance, and pause. Now, if you get any cramping up of your organs, and you can use your diaphragmatic breathing. Breathe deeply, using your diaphragm to displace your organs and push them down below your rib cage. That will clear out your intestines down below. And then when you exhale, they'll bounce back up and they'll be more comfortable. You'll be able to maybe either stay in the pose a little bit more or just be able to deal with it. Allow your spine to round. This is a hamstring stretch on your right leg and a bit of a groin on the left, and also your spine. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, come back up. This is where you need the strap or the towel. Just bring that and place it over your chest and come down onto your back. Stretch your feet out to the front of the mat. Lift your arms up overhead and stretch to the back of the mat. From your heels to your toes and from your fingers to your toes. And then bring your hands back down by your side. Push both heels away. And then, keeping your left leg where it is, bend your right knee, bring that right knee up into your chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. See how far into your chest you can bring that. And then maybe you want to try moving it over towards your armpit if there's a little bit more. This is about the maximum your hip flexors can flex. This is all your psoas working. From here, grab onto your strap and take the middle of it, or the middle of your towel, over the bottom of your foot. And grab each end with a different hand and step up onto the ceiling. Pushing the ceiling away with the sole of your foot. Your shoulders are still on the mat. You're using your weight, the weight of your chest, and your strength to draw that leg down into your hip socket. And then carefully change your bind into just your right hand. And you can figure out how to do that. I'm sorry, I'll show you how to do that in a different class. Take your left hand on top of your left hip crease. And on an exhale, lower that right leg out to the right, down towards the mat, knowing that you're never going to quite get there. Keep that left hip down. You don't want that popping up.
Close your eyes. See if you can go inside wherever the sensations are greatest. That might be your inner thigh. Might be your knee or your quads or your hip flexors. There's a lot going on here. Maybe even it's your left leg. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, draw that right leg back up onto the ceiling. And then keeping some tension on that towel or that strap, bend your knee until you feel you can release the towel easily. Draw that knee into your chest. Draw your left knee up into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And either rock left to right or make circles on the ceiling. And the next pose has us starting in a seated position. So cross your ankles and rock from front to back. Or you can just go from over to your right side. We're going to do swan. So for swan, you'll be on the right side because we started with the right leg. I want to continue with the right leg. Your right shin should be roughly parallel to the front of your mat. You have some options here. If your knee hurts at all, make a change. Your right knee, your right foot should be flexed. That's always a good way to start. And then you can take that left leg back as far as you want. You could leave it right here, make this into 90-90. But I'm going to take it all the way back. Conventional swan or pigeon pose in a hatha class. And walk your left knee back. Come up on your fingertips. Elevate your chest high so that you can drop as much weight as possible into your hips. The objective is to get your hips all the way down onto the mat. Now that will never happen, but that is the direction that I'd like you to be looking towards. Now this is a pose that works on your glutes and your hip socket. So it's been clinically proven that if your eyes are closed, nobody can see you. So with your eyes closed, maybe you want to just reach around behind and feel your right glute and see where this tension is greatest. And then know that you can move that right knee a little over to the left or a little over to the right, and that will change the part of the glute that you feel this in. And if you'd like, you can walk your hands forward. Coming down onto your elbows. Personally, I like to bring a block underneath my sternum because I can't get all the way down. And then just release. And let gravity do all the work. In Yin, by not allowing your muscles to engage, that permits your muscles to soften
And as your muscles soften, it transfers that tension into your fascia, the coverings of your muscles, the connective tissues. And that gives you more flexibility. And more importantly, it gives you more mobility, creates extra space in your body. And as you get older, they'll be even more important. Begin to deepen your breath. Walk your hands back towards your chest. Push the floor away, lifting up your chest. Keep walking your hands back and have your right leg meet the left. From here, you can do cat-cows and make big circles with your hips, or you can curl your toes under and come up into downward facing dog. You can stretch out your hamstrings and your glutes. And then if you're up in downward facing dog, carefully return your knees back down into table. Lift your left leg up and back, and then bring your left knee behind the left hand, left wrist. Bringing that left foot over to the right. And you'll find yourself coming into swan on the left. Now this side may be the same, may be radically different. Even at a young age, we all have different histories on different sides of our bodies. Try walking that right foot back. You want to keep the toenails on the mat of the right foot. And then lift your chest high again. Maybe even lift up that right knee to see how much weight you can actually get into that left hip. From here, you can again feel what part of your glute is stretching the most. You can feel your hip sockets. And when you're ready, walk your hands forward, coming down towards the mat. And if your knee starts to hurt, you can always move that left knee towards the center of your body. So the center line of your body, and bring that heel closer to your pelvis. But that's up to you. This is a time that you're learning about your body. I started doing yoga when I was 61. And I thought I knew quite a bit about my body, but I've learned so much more just through practice and observing. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, bring your palms back down onto the mat. Lift your chest up. Come on to one hip or the other. Probably your left, and then swing your legs around in front. Bring your hands behind your hips and your footprints on the mat.
And maybe you want to do some yoga bicycles. Maybe you just want to do some windshield wipers. The windshield wipers work on your hip flexors and a little bit on your glutes. Your yoga bicycle works a little bit more on your glutes. And then sit up all the way. And from here, straighten out both legs, toes towards the ceiling. Inhale your spine tall, chest high. Touch your chin. Bend your right knee and bring your right sole into your left inner thigh, as close to your pubic bone as you can get it. Inhale tall and exhale forward fold over that left leg. Your collarbone's going towards your instep. Crown of your head towards the ceiling. And if your eyes were open, they'd just be looking at the top of your knee, or your ankle, or your toes, depending on how long your legs are. You should really be feeling this in that left hip. These asymmetric poses allow you to get more into a pose than the symmetric poses. By bending that right leg, you allow the left leg a little bit more mobility. And notice if you have more flexibility on this side. And note if you were a soccer player, if you were a left footer or a right footer, which side was dominant? Strength and flexibility are two sides of the same muscle core. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, walk your hands back. Bring your hands behind your hips. Bring your footprints onto the mat. And then move your feet either close together or wide apart. Or someplace where you haven't tried before. And windshield wiper slowly. And feel how your body responds to the first windshield wiper. When you go all the way over and down, the resistance, where is it? Why do you think it's there? And the next time you come to center pause, come all the way down onto your elbows. Bring your feet forward, all the way down onto your back. Hands up towards the ceiling and then towards the wall beyond. Press your palms away from your heels. Your manicure away from your pedicure. Then return your arms by your side. Grab that towel or the strap. And bend that left knee. Draw that left knee into your chest. And really see how much you can draw that in. You're stretching your glute here a little bit. See what the difference is by pointing and flexing your toes. And then when you're ready, put the center of your towel or your strap over the ball of your foot. Then reach that footprint up into the air, step on the ceiling. And draw that leg down into your hip socket.
by drawing your arms outward. You know from physics that the more you pull outward, the more force you're going to get coming down that component. Of course, it's more challenging doing it that way, but this is strengthening your back too. And if your leg starts to shudder, that's okay. Carefully bring the bind into just your left hand. Bring your right hand on top of your right femur, your right hip crease, and slowly lower the left leg out to the side, knowing that you're never going to reach the ground. If you come close to the ground, if you can bring it down to the ground, just put more tension into that strap so that that leg does not come down. If it comes down, there's no stretch. So you want that stretch to be there. You can rest your elbow on the mat. You can rest your elbow on a block or on a towel. Make sure that right hip doesn't pop up. On your next inhale, slowly bring that left foot up towards the ceiling. Keep tension on that strap and bend that knee until you can release the strap safely. Draw that knee into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. Bring the right leg up into your chest, squeeze, and rock left to right or big circles. Make sure you go the opposite direction. And the next time you come to center, pause. On an exhale, release one leg out to the front corner of your mat. And then when you're ready, release the other. Push your heels away. And then let your feet just fall where they want. If you'd like to walk your shoulder blades underneath your chest a little more, that's okay. If you want your arms way out into T, that's fine too. Take a deep cleansing breath into your nose and exhale out through your nose. Take another cleansing breath into your nose, out through your nose. And take rest. Give your body the time it needs to reacquaint itself with your brain. And if you need to stay in Shavasana a while longer, go right ahead. And just ignore my cueing. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring movement to your fingers and to your toes, to your wrists, and to your ankles. Gently roll your head from left to right. And when you're ready, route your footprints up towards your sit bones. Draw your knees into your chest. Push your hips away and rock one side to the other. And the next time you come over on your right side, pause there for just a moment, using your right arm as a pillow. Do a quick body scan to see if there's any residual tension that you need to address in the next day or so. When you're ready, use your left hand to push the floor away. Rise up into a seated position. Thank you for sharing your Yin Yoga practice with me this afternoon. Be grateful for the people around you, for your teammates, and your coaching staff, and all of your support system. Practice your compassion and your empathy with your friends, your family, and those people you might meet. Namaste. My name is Clint, and this has been Yin Yoga.